Morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bitcoin Brief with your hosts, Stone Vase and Jimmy Song. Giacomo Zucco should be coming on and joining us shortly, but we will go ahead and begin. Jimmy, vacation going good?
Yeah, went crabbing yesterday. I caught some crabs, ate them. That's always fun, like catching your own food and stuff. So highly recommended.
Did you have you made it public, like at least what state you're on or what country you're on? You're in or which country?
I'm in the United States. I'm on the Pacific coast.
Yeah, Pacific Coast. All right, cool. Staying in one place or you moving around?
I am definitely moving around.
Nice. All right. Well, check out national parks, man. Lots of good ones out there.
Yeah, I'm headed towards some.
Excellent. All right. Let's I have to do this and I have to do that. Okay. All right. Let's go to screen share. Let's take a look at the stories that we are going to be dealing with today. Let's begin with the New York Times. The New York Times confirms it's using a blockchain to combat fake news. I don't think we need to read further into this. Jimmy, please inform the New York Times that blockchains do not actually remove fake news.
Yeah, it's all about the source and like whether or not it's true or false. You don't magically get truth because it happens to be on a blockchain. I don't know where they get this idea. I mean, they've been. This is another one of those hyperledger projects where they have proof of press release and that's about it. They don't really actually do anything. Yeah, it's a nice way to get some buzz for Hyperledger. It's a way for all of the people that are working in that lab department to make it sound like they're doing something important, when in fact, none of this is ever going to go to production. No one's going to pay any amount of money for any of this stuff. So it's just it's a fluff story. It's one of those blockchainy things where they make it sound like it can do way more than it can. No, blockchain does not suddenly make it so that everything on it is suddenly true. That if that were the case, I would say, like Jimmy Song has 1 million Bitcoin or something like that on the blockchain. That would be fake news. But
you probably want to say Jimmy Song lost all his Bitcoin in a boating accident. Instead, on the blockchain, and that makes it true.
Yeah, that's not how it works, guys. And I mean, it's another facepalm for me.
Oh, ironically, it says in the live chat. Ironically, we are talking about fake news of the New York Times using the blockchain to combat fake news. Like the story itself is like probably the definition.
I mean, it is fake news. It's proof of press release, right? It's like they're like this apparently, if it goes into their blockchain, actually makes it true. In what reality does that happen? I have no idea. But yeah, it's a bunch of wishful thinking people.
All right, so let's stick with blockchains in society for 200 and go over to Utah. Utah County to offer blockchain voting app in municipal elections. Now, unlike the fake news, I mean, like if someone sat me in a room with people smarter than me, I think there could be some benefit for voting actually being in a blockchain. I think I can come up with a reasonable, non-scammy way that it actually could benefit. I think this use case is possible. I just don't think anyone is actually going to do it without scamming with a token. Do you think voting and utilizing the blockchain could be something that is useful to the world?
No, I think public key cryptography should be. If you have an identity that's tied to a public key, then you can cast your vote, and you can have some sort of zero knowledge proof of having cast something, and in aggregate that the people that did it, you can verify who won, something like that. But it doesn't need a blockchain per se. You could have a centralized database with an API. What they're talking about here is some form of that, but I hate that they're using the word blockchain, because it's really a specialized database, And a blockchain is a chain of blocks. There's no blocks here, right? It's just votes. And you aggregate them, and you have some zero knowledge way of casting the votes and so on. But then you have all these other laws that sort of may get violated. Like you might sell your vote to somebody else and give them your private key and let them cast a vote for you and so on. I mean, there's a lot of problems. Plus, the zero knowledge proofs themselves are not easy and so on. So it's there's some feasible ways in which public key cryptography could be used for voting, but I think using blockchain is a gross use of that word, and it's I mean, you can probably make something technical that makes sense. I don't think this word should be used in this context.
I'm going to push back on you on this one a little bit. I actually unlike blockchains in supply chains, blockchains in the news. I mean, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, because it's different to me, right? Like, I do want to respect voting, and I don't trust governments. Now, I trust, look, corporations do a lot of bad stuff, but they do it for profit, right? They have very different motives. And governments oversee, or they're supposed to oversee, the private sector. Also, the private sector needs to cooperate with other private sectors, which is why I'm all okay with just a distributed database, DLT stuff. No need for actual blockchain and proof of work. But I actually wouldn't mind, a proper project that actually, cryptographically encrypts, and the data is actually on the Bitcoin blockchain, so that your vote is actually there immutably forever. I think that's important because I don't trust governments. I don't trust the voting system. I think they do cheat, and they don't have anybody overseeing them, right? In the private sector, private sector can get together. The private sector can, check each other. The government's supposed to oversee them, but no one checks the government. So I actually am looking forward for someone to propose a non-scammy way to utilize the blockchain, and obviously I mean the Bitcoin blockchain, in the voting system.
I think that's stupid, honestly, because if you have votes, there for all time, first of all, you have some serious privacy issues. What if your private key ever gets leaked? Then you're going to know exactly how I voted or something like that. I'm sure people are very aware of what happened with Brandon Ike and how he gave some money to a charitable or to a political action committee and got fired as a result. That's not what you want to happen. You don't want your past votes to become public in any way. But I mean, unfortunately, this is something that that a system like this would allow for. Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, with voting, it gets really, really tricky because you can't have perfect privacy and non-ability for the government to cheat in some way. I mean, they can create a million fake citizens and have them all vote or whatever. There's no real way to enforce that they're not going to do that and make it so that their candidate wins. I mean, that's probably happening anyway. As it is, you don't even need to show an ID to vote in many states and so on. But I mean, this is why I don't vote. This is because it's all a sham anyway, and it's the people in power that get to decide these things really only offer us two choices that are more or less the same. So, in a way, I don't think voting is what people make it out to be. Like it's some sacred right that allows us to choose our own leaders. It's actually like other players in the background, they're actually choosing for us, and we're given A and B, which are essentially equal. So this is how the world's worked for a while, and my my thing is it's better to take power away from the state than to change the people that are, running the whole show with more and more power each time. So that's my personal view on it.
Yeah, no, you know what? You actually made a really good point, and I think I'm convinced. You're right. You don't want your vote there forever, which is what a blockchain will do. If your private key ever gets leaked, the future governments will know how you voted for past governments, and that could be very, very dangerous. So what we do need is a cryptographic way to verifiably prove that, yes, this is who you voted for. Yes, they can't change they no way of changing that vote. And after X amount of time, that data is not viewable at all, or it's no longer there. And you're right. There needs to be a way to do this, and you don't actually need the proof of work Bitcoin blockchain for this, or any blockchain for that matter. All right, let's move on over to. You good? All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on over to new exchanges are gonna replicate the Binance model because you can build anything you like by creating a scam token. So here we have the Bitfinex investor raising 21 million for Binance-style exchange cryptocurrency. So basically, everyone else now wants to replicate, just like everyone wanted to replicate Ethereum after they made so much money with their ICO token. So that gave us EOS and Tezos and Tron and God knows what else. Now we have the lending platform kicked off the sale of 21 million RBR tokens on Monday, each priced at $1 USDT, I guess Tether. The dollar peg cryptocurrency by Tether. There's more demand for Tether. It's yet another example of a notable Chinese crypto startup capitalizing on the craze of exchanges platform tokens following the significant growth of Binance token. So basically, clearly 300 years of exchanges and history not needing your own currency inside your own exchange is now seen as stupid, and you now need your own token in order to run an exchange. So this is basically a Binance competitor, and they're gonna start popping up like mushrooms, right? Everyone's gonna want to launch an exchange because now you don't need to actually raise money. You can just sell a bunch of tokens. You can offer people discounts to fees inside your exchange to use the set token that has no other function than to make you a multi-millionaire to build yet another exchange that is going to get hacked. So thoughts, Jimmy?
Well, I mean, this is the inevitable endpoint of all these IEOs and stuff like that. There's so many of them, and the reason why there are so many is because they figured out, okay, well, if we tie it to our platform and not actually we're centralized anyway, make people feel like they're getting a share of the profits of this exchange or something like that, that would somehow seem more legitimate than ICOs. I think investors will get smarter and smarter. I mean, there's been an IEO for pretty much every exchange outside the US. This is a first in that they're doing the token sale first before the actual exchange is operating. So it's more along the ICO model, but at least they're building something. Most ICOs don't end up building anything. So I mean, there's that's progress, I guess. But yeah, these scams. This is yet another layer of a scam, and that seems to be what's happening.
All right, so our next story, I haven't really looked into it. This was in my my Telegram group. I just thought it was kind of funny. I don't want to advertise anybody, but this tweet came in and it says announcing the beta release of Indelim. I don't know what the hell this is. Using the Indelim messaging protocol IMP on top of the Ripple blockchain allows users to upload files of any size to the Ripple blockchain and exist forever to be downloaded. Thoughts on how this is going to end?
Well, I don't know how this is technically feasible. I mean, it's free data storage for life, I guess, for every node that's running, every Ripple node. I mean, there's only like 10 anyways. I can't imagine this having, I mean, it would be very easy to DOS. So I can't imagine how this will end up.
Yeah, there's some really good comments in this thread.
Is that 4chan? There's a 4chan screenshot.
Hold on, there was, I think it was this one.
Yeah, it is 4chan. Nice.
Here's the goal of this operation is to crush XRP. For too long, the XRP board has roamed freely without being challenged for their shitcoin that it is. I mean, there's some. I really like. I think Stop and Decred. I don't know when he finds time to comment on everything. I have so many people blocked that are Ripple supporters that I can't even see half the replies for this.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. They're mostly bot generated from what I could tell.
Oh, yeah, I know. And here's the funny part. Oh, man, where's Stop and Decrypt's message? Damn it. Can't find it now. Damn it. All right. So here's the thing, right? Someone asked me the other day, and I thought this was absolutely fascinating. Of all the conferences you and I go to, Jimmy, have we ever met an actual Ripple fan from their army in person?
No, I've met Davis Schwartz, but that's about it.
We've met employees of Ripple.
Or people hosting their party or something like that, like when Snoop Dogg with Consensus or something. But yeah, we haven't actually met any of the actual fans. I mean, it might be that, they don't want to approach us because they hate us or something. But I mean, it's strange that we never have ever seen them.
Right. I've never seen people wear Ripple shirts, Ripple hats.
I mean, I know there's like a milk brand in the grocery store called Ripple. That's about the only time I see Ripple, really.
But yeah, so when do you think people will learn that there's no such thing as free and infinite data storage?
I mean, hopefully soon. If it sounds too good to be true, it's usually not true, right? Like, and like if you have free and infinite data storage for life, there's a whole host of things that you could do. Yeah, I mean, at some point, somebody's gonna upload like child porn on it or something and make it illegal for anyone to ever download the Ripple blockchain, or for the Ripple Corporation, for that matter, to run their own node. In which case the network will go down. So yeah, we would hate to see that happen. But yeah, I mean, who knows what'll happen?
Why would we hate to see that happen?
I'm just saying, I'm not gonna advocate for anything. I'm just saying that this is a very clear security.
No, I'm talking about going down. You're like, it would be unfortunate if it went down. Why would that be unfortunate?
I mean, I'm not gonna make moral judgments here. I'm just gonna say.
I'm not saying why. No. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Yes, you have to pay in Ripple to put crap on Ripple. The point is still this, and they're like, well, this will not get out of control because it'll become more and more expensive to put things on the Ripple blockchain. Correct. It'll become more expensive to do all transactions on the Ripple blockchain, because the thing is, when you offer free and unlimited data storage for the rest of time, the shit that's already there needs to continue to be secured.
Yeah, it's a continuing cost, and you get a one-time fee benefit as Ripple, but you're essentially guaranteeing that this data will exist forever. So, I mean, Bitcoin's very stingy about that. Where a 300 byte transaction is very, very tiny, relatively speaking, but it has fees that are proportional to how large it is for that reason, because you really don't want that to be on the blockchain.
And here,
you don't want a very big thing on the blockchain, rather.
And here's the thing: even though Ripple has 100 billion tokens, and they own the majority of them, Ripple actually has to get burned in order to put shit onto the blockchain. So if it's important for somebody to put $1 million worth of data on there, they will do it. And then in the future, Ripple proves to you, like, my argument is this: if at any time Ripple wants to create more Ripple tokens, they can, because it's a centralized entity. And people push back saying, no, they can't. Well, if all of the Ripple tokens have just been used up because they were burned to put shit on the Ripple blockchain, they will just create more tokens. Do you people not understand how centralized this project is?
Yeah, I mean, it's much easier than that. And it's just, you have to. I believe the Ripple client does a callback to upgrade, and then whenever it sees that there's a new version, it auto upgrades. So all Ripple has to do is change their software to say Ripple now owns another 100 billion XRP tokens, and that's like, there's nobody would be the wiser, because all of them do a callback to the central server saying, oh, I need to upgrade. Okay, I'll upgrade. And they don't check any of the rules or anything. So it's so simple. And people don't realize that this is the case with Ripple. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say something, but someone in the live chat pretty much beat me to it. For the Ripple Corporation, and I know the XRP army is going to go crazy, including their CTO probably as well. At the end of the day, it is just as easy for the Ripple Corporation to create more Ripple as it is for the Tether company or for Bitfinex to create more Tether. It's just that
but it's easier. It's easier because at least Bitfinex nominally has to have some receipt in a bank somewhere for their.
Yeah, you're right. Bitfinex has to still follow some kind of regulation and actually try to back that token, even though
XRP does not.
Yeah.
So it's literally a push of a button. It's as easy as a central bank.
Well, no, it's not. I'll give Ripple credit for this, right? They've obfuscated how easy it is. So so it's basically like you have a Trezor. You have a Trezor in a safe, right? But instead of you directly having the combination to that safe, you hit that combination in yet another safe. And then the combination to that safe, got buried at your family's house. And then, so it's not.
This is also how central banks work, Tone. Like,
right. So
centralization is.
Yes. So Ripple has gone out of its way to obfuscate something that with maybe a day of programming could be reversed, and after that day it's a click of a button. Like, there's nothing that they can't do with anything in Ripple. Don't give me the shit about validators.
Yeah, because all those validators, their rules can change anytime because they all do a callback to Ripple, so makes no sense. They really do not understand decentralization in any way. Or they're more likely willfully ignorant of it because they're holding a lot of bad.
All right, so unfortunately, Giacomo is not able to make it. We have one more story. I don't remember if we talked about it yesterday. Did we talk about our friend Justin Sun of Tron yesterday?
No, but this is really interesting.
So I'm constantly seeing statements across the wire. Like CoinDesk has an article saying Justin Sun has just been cited in San Francisco, saying that the Chinese is fake news. But then just now I saw that people are saying the Chinese news is real. So I don't know what is or isn't real. But here's what I know. Tron is being affected because, wow, they don't even deny it. Chinese authorities preventing Tron CEO Justin Sun. So Tron does have a CEO. At least Justin Sun admits it, unlike Vitalik.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but apparently that lunch with Warren Buffett was canceled because he had kidney stones or something. And then
that was the story, right? But like, here's the other side of the story.
Some people are saying it's like that sounds suspicious. It's actually Chinese authorities
right. So
him. I don't. know what's going on. I'm not surprised though that since he's the single point of failure for Tron, that this is the exact sort of thing that might happen.
Right. So I actually want to go and take a look at the price of Tron and how its CEO potentially being sick or potentially being in a Chinese prison has an effect on its price. I don't know if I have a chart of Tron. We will check. If not, I'll just make one.
And Justin, if you're in San Francisco, why don't you take a photo in front of a well-known landmark in San Francisco instead of some random room?
They're saying that he did, but and that's in the article as well. Here, I'll go back to, actually, I'll just do this. There. So right here, supposedly that is, a key.
That's not a well-known landmark, though. So
no, it is. It is.
It is.
Yeah, it's known enough. It's enough to identify San Francisco.
Okay.
But
right, fair enough.
But still, like Photoshop's Photoshop, right?
Yeah.
And
there are forensic ways to determine if it's been manipulated or not. But yeah, okay.
But yeah, so we still don't know. Maybe New York Times can figure this out with their blockchain.
Apparently, if they put this story in, it'll automatically become true.
Right. So, but either way, we're not here to speculate on where Justin Sun is. Let's go take a look at the daily price of their. Well, we're looking at it versus Bitcoin. I'm gonna go back to the weekly. Well, it doesn't seem to be affecting it much, considering it's already fallen almost to towards its initial price. So this thing is in the shitter already, and it looks like it's just going to keep going in that direction. So doesn't really matter. I thought it moved a lot. People were.
If you look at the hourly, I think.
I may have to look at like the 4-hour when the news broke. Yeah, there it is. So I mean, maybe people are happy that he got detained, or maybe this is when he got detained. I'm not sure when the news broke. I don't know if this was the first article of its kind, but this thing was published July 23rd, so yesterday, but on a 4-hour chart, that may still be hard to tell. But it's definitely causing some volatility. Versus the dollar, I'm sure it moved a lot. If it moved this much against Bitcoin back and forth, it moved 15% against Bitcoin in 8 hours.
Yep. That's what I saw. There was another chart that was more stark. It might have been on the hourly, and then somebody pointed out exactly when that news story broke. So, I think that that one candle was probably the buffet lunch, and then the big red candle. Yeah,
this is
the other one.
This is probably when the lunch was canceled, and this is probably when the confusion started. Yeah,
and then the Chinese story started leaking out, and you had successive sell-offs. Then it's recovered a little bit, so I don't know where it's going.
All right, I think we're done with the news, man. I guess I'll take a look at the price of Bitcoin, and we'll leave it there. I'm gonna close this article, and Jimmy, you don't have any classes coming up, so but please check out Jimmy's book. You can go to programmingbitcoin.com, which is Jimmy Song's website, and check that out.
All right. Well, thanks, Son. And this song is done.
Thanks, Jimmy. All right. It was great to have Jimmy back again. Guys, my calendar, I'm still working on this. Probably maybe by end of week, we will have it. I got big news upcoming on an event I will be putting on in Bali at the end of October. It'll be the announcement. This will probably come tomorrow. Finishing up the website now and speaking to a lot of people about it. All right, let's really quickly. Actually, what is this? Oh, this is Willy Woo's chart. I'll refresh this one more time. I'm really curious. This thing is dropping somewhat quickly, and I'm gonna zoom in on this. Yep, we're falling into that zone, and let's see what happens in the near future. Here's the weekly chart. The weekly chart will be neutral all week. All week, this chart will be neutral. Okay, this red. Well, not necessarily, right? If we fall below 9,000, then it ain't gonna be neutral no more. It'll now be bearish. The daily chart did exactly what it was supposed to do. Once we fell below this $10,000 area on a daily scale, we went lower. This is now very, very problematic, okay? See, the last time we were down at this price, we were on the tail end of a disastrous candle, which was a 6. Now we are on the front end of a 3. So this thing can go lower, and the most likely outcome right now is that it will go lower, okay? And right now I am bearish based on a daily chart. I would almost consider setting a break-even stop loss on this swing trade, but I would probably let this day finish out, see where it closes, and then adjust my stops. But the daily is bearish and potentially only starting. The 4-hour is, the 4-hour went bearish at a different point. If I was trading the 4-hour and I was still in the short trade, I would wait for this candle to end in about, 12-hour, not 4-hour. I would wait for this candle to end, and I would probably lower that stop loss to the top of the current candle, but I wouldn't do it right now. Though I wouldn't even mind doing it right now, because if this thing rallies above 9,900 at this point, this drop might be over. So when it was rallying this morning and then completely fell from 9,900, I think it must have just fallen. Let me go to the lower level time frame. Yeah, so we have just fallen here. So look at this. These are standard fractals, right? Look, you fell to some level, you bounced from that level. This is when the short trade activated. Once you broke that level, you accelerated lower, you pulled back to set level. Look where you broke here. Here's where you broke down, and look, you pulled back to that level again. And look what's happening now. You are breaking down again. So right now, if we break down this level, there's a high probability that we will fall somewhere. I don't know where, maybe 9,200, maybe this setup trend line at 9,000. Then we rally back to this level of the breakdown. But right now we are at the breakdown level on a 4-hour chart. So if the next 4-hour candle starts trading lower than this candle, and I'm gonna trade in a short trade, I would be comfortable lowering that stop loss to the top of the last swing high on a 4-hour scale. Because if we can break the swing high, this momentum is probably going to end. Okay, but right now I am bearish the 4-hour time frame. I am bearish the 12-hour time frame. I am bearish the daily time frame. The 1 hour doesn't really matter, but whatever is happening right now, this hour is really, really bad. Okay, I will wait for this hour to finish in about 4 minutes. And if I was in a swing trade to the downside, I would be comfortable lowering my stop loss to the top of that candle. Maybe I set it to just above 10 grand, okay, on a stop loss. But that's basically what I'm looking at. GBTC might actually get me a nice entry for my retirement portfolio. Oh, Ethereum is rising right now on this big Bitcoin drop versus Bitcoin. I'm sure Ethereum is falling in dollar terms, but it's rising versus Bitcoin. So while I would have been bearish here and here on Ethereum versus Bitcoin, this green 2 going above a green 1 is not exactly comforting for me. So I'm probably taking my stop loss, and I will wait and reevaluate because Bitcoin just dropped too fast against Ethereum. Now, I also know that this just happened in this hour. So if I'm not already out, I would at this point maybe give it a little more leeway. I would potentially set my stop loss to above this moving average, and I would be more comfortable with that, okay? But I still think that Ethereum will continue to fall against Bitcoin. Litecoin might have went up against Bitcoin as well, and it looks like it did. So this looks like a big drop in Bitcoin, and for the moment, the shitcoins are benefiting from this drop in Bitcoin. But if this drop in Bitcoin is more than a 1 or a 2 hour drop, it's very, very likely the altcoins will actually drop faster. We already talked about Tron. I don't really care. As far as GBTC goes, I do need to update these things. What's today's date? The month is almost at an end. I'll update it in 7 days. This isn't perfectly accurate. I will update my numbers. I'm still using May, but I'm going to use July. I just have to remember in 7 days to do it. It's close enough, but it's not perfectly accurate. I would like for GBTC and its premium to fall down. I mean, I would love to buy GBTC at a significantly lower price. Right now, it's at $12.50. I really want to see the premium go to the 10% area or less. I want to see the premium in this vicinity here, where the gray line is. And I want to see the price in also this vicinity here. Like, I want this environment once again. Remember, I bought GBTC in this environment right here, but then I sold GBTC in this environment over here in May. So I took the GBTC trade, I took the long from this area, and I exited. I'm not going to cherry pick the top. I exited in that area. Okay. So this was the gain on GBTC. Okay. This was the trade that I took. I didn't like the fact that I had to hold this trade way longer than I wanted, and most of it was in the red. I also actually took some of my initial profit on this pop, and then I took the rest of my profit at a much bigger pop over there. I want to buy GBTC back in this range of where I sold it, ideally near the bottom of this range than the top. Yes, I did not make money on this move, but I also did not lose money because this thing, I was anticipating it to fall significantly lower. I still think that it can. Now, between the premium and, see, here's another area where the premium was low. Right here, the premium was at like 10%, okay? You just got to have the right charts to do this. Or you can do it by hand. Mining profitability, not much to comment on. The US dollar, I'm very curious about. US dollar is hanging in there. That means the euro is probably not doing too well. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. You guys are dangerously close to breaking this setup trend line. At the beginning end of a weekly setup, after consolidation of moving averages. That is very, very bad, guys. Gold, let's see how this week finishes. I would be very cautious in long gold at the moment. I would take my profit. And S&P 500 is very bullish. I am very, very bullish. We have broken this line. We are green 2 above a green 1 on a daily. We are challenging the highs. Today is already Thursday. It's looking like a breakout week. I would not be looking for many short trades. And there goes Netflix. We talked about it yesterday. I did not even know it popped. I would have lowered my entry to either the top of the body of the 9 or the top of yesterday's candle. Netflix is look, the rebound came 1 day late. Trading isn't perfect, right? Even if you would have taken the long trade yesterday, which I would not have, your most conservative stop loss is below the swing low, and that was low, and that was lower on Tuesday than on Wednesday. The sequential gives you a stop loss at setup trend line. We did not even come close to that. Netflix was an absolute buying opportunity off this 9. It's all a matter of actually timing that trade as best you can. And for me, the best timing on that trade would have been this morning. I didn't see it. I wasn't paying attention. But if I was running a portfolio, if I was running a fund, I would absolutely be buying Netflix sometime today, somewhere in the following price range. I'm just going to use this range for simplicity. I'm going to move this out of the way for a second. Somewhere between this price. Oh, wait. I need this. I don't know why it's blue, but somewhere between this price and this price, I'm going to zoom in on that. Somewhere between these two, I'm going to expand on that. Somewhere in this range, I am buying Netflix. What is the range? This range is $1.57. Somewhere in this range, I'm buying Netflix, okay? If I was actively trading and paying attention. And that means, let's say let's not cherry pick. Let's say I got the top of it here. I'm already up 1.5% today. That is why we have the notification service, so you know when the 9's coming. Beautiful trade. Anybody took it? Congratulations. Especially in a bull market. See, this is where, while a couple of days ago I was looking for 9's at the top, based on yesterday and today's S&P, I'm now looking for 9's at the bottom because that allows me to buy the dip in a market that's breaking out. Tesla, I believe, was topping, and right, so I wouldn't be buying Tesla even in a bull market. Right now, I would rather buy the 9 off the dip, and if I'm in Tesla, I'm looking to get out tomorrow on the daily 9. Facebook isn't useful. Let's take a look at these. Now, this is where you also have to be careful with US companies, that even though they gave you the perfect trade with a 9 daily, weekly, monthly, you see the stock market breaking out. You're better off taking whatever profit you can on this trade, because now the 9's at the top, which were looking like high probability trades for a potential market collapse, are no longer good for you. Now you want to try to catch stocks like Netflix that are bottoming. Yeah, NVIDIA is on my list. Let's look at NVIDIA. Again, NVIDIA, I would be out right now. I understand that we're in a bull market and NVIDIA is in a bull trend. If NVIDIA last week was looking like this, I would absolutely be interested in buying it. But right here, NVIDIA is still a little toppy. Now, if NVIDIA was over here, maybe on this 5 candle, breaking out past prior swing high, I would be more interested. But right now, I'm still more interested in taking profit in NVIDIA, because right now, if the market is breaking out, I would rather take the lagging stock than the leading stock at this point in time. So I would be careful with NVIDIA. See, this is more interesting to me right now. This is a different type of a breakout. This is where I love using sequential and chart patterns. See, in NVIDIA, you have gone up a lot. You have gone up from $130 all the way up to $180 in a little over a month, in like 2 months, right? And you're not near the all-time high. And it looks a little bit, if I look at the oscillators, they're probably going to be overbought. That is not what AMD looks like. AMD, now the CMF looks a little overbought. The RSI is not yet. But look, unlike NVIDIA, AMD is consolidating at the top with a beautiful cup and handle. NVIDIA also did not go up as much, right? Yeah, beautiful 9 buying opportunity off the reversal candle and moving average. But that has already topped out. Like right now, NVIDIA is in this vicinity here, but AMD has already worked off its overbought condition, and it's now consolidating. And tomorrow could be a green 2 going above a green 1, breaking out of a cup and handle. I am way more interested in buying into AMD than I am into NVIDIA from a risk-reward perspective. I can also set, a very, clean stop loss. Now, do keep in mind that earnings is coming up very soon, so this may not be a wise trade based on earnings, or greatly lower your position size. I didn't really want to get into stocks. I can glance at iRobot. I'm familiar with the company, but I've never, sorry. I'm familiar. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at that 9. Now I know it's earnings, right? So I wouldn't short it, but I'm just saying, like, if you are a professional trader and you just got this run up that ends on a 9 the day before earnings announcement, if you're not getting out of this thing, you don't deserve to trade. Like, you have to, of course, you have to understand sequential and trust it. But man, was that a nice 9? So, well, no comment, right? I mean, it just had an abysmal earnings. Now, would I be more interested in buying the stock than selling it? Maybe. I mean, when a stock falls, 50% in a year, I am more interested in buying that stock, but I'm going to buy it very strategically. It just announced earnings. I don't know where it's going to go. The last time it had an abysmal earnings, it had 2 more days of downside, but then it had a rally. Had a rally right here. I can put this up here. I can put this down there. I can, let's put this down there. It had a rally. Not a great rally, but an 8% rally. That is definitely profitable. You can make an 8% in 4 days, right? A little more than that even, right? I can put that there. Almost 9%. Almost 9%. And in fact, the majority of that 9% took place in the first 2 days. Obviously, you're not going to catch the low, right? You're not buying into this thing till, there. You're only going to catch like maybe 4% of this move, if you're lucky, okay? Am I more interested in catching this off the 13? I am, but I need time, okay? I'm probably going to forget to look at this thing, but this is a reversal candle, but it has too wide of a range. I can't trade a candle with this wider range. I need this to fall maybe a little bit more, maybe give me 8 more days of downside, give me a 9, give me a reversal candle, make it more oversold. Get this thing down to $55 in the next 7 days, give me a beautiful 9, and I would be interested in picking it up, but not today. Okay. Someone asked me for the GBP currency. I'll take a look at that. I'll stick with this, and I'll just go to my, and then we're gonna call this a day, guys. I'll look at the Euro GBP first. So this is Euro priced in British pounds, as anticipated by me for a while. Oh, look at these 9s right at the high. It's a daily chart. So this is how many British pounds it would cost you to buy a euro. I anticipate that the British pound is going to strengthen against the euro. So I anticipate this to actually go lower, right? That means the British pound is strengthening against the euro. At the same time, I expect the US dollar to strengthen against the British pound. So here is the British pound in terms of dollars. And I expect this to also go lower because I expect the dollar to be continue to strengthen against the British pound, but not as fast. I mean, I anticipate the dollar to be more valuable against the euro at a faster pace than the dollar to be valuable against the pound. So therefore, the value of the pound against the euro should also increase. So it'll be cheaper for Americans to go to London and Europe. Hope that explains it. All right, guys. I think that's good. Hey, check out tomvase.com. Please check out the workshops. I have risk and account management coming up. I will be in Dallas, Texas, teaching one in person the day before the Bit Block Boom conference. And tomorrow or latest Friday, we will be announcing what I plan to do in Bali. We will see how that works out. The trolls are going to have a field day It's going to be different. It's going to be interesting. And hopefully some of you might be interested in attending. All right, guys. On this note, I'm going to call it a day, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye, guys.